is Petroc Wilton, who's a spokesperson for the World Food Programme. He joins us now from Nairobi. Really good to have you with us, Petroc. This is a really alarming situation we're hearing about in Somalia. Many people displaced in just over 100 days. Tell us more about the causes of this displacement.
Thank you so much. In fact, I'm calling in from Mogadishu right now. I'm on the ground. What these figures are showing us is that the humanitarian emergency in Somalia is a long way from over. As we saw in the report, the key drivers of this displacement have been a mix of conflict, but also drought and flooding at the same time. Somalia is reeling from the impact of the longest drought in its recorded history, over 2.5 years. Now it's raining in parts of the country. Those rains are not enough yet to undo all the damage this drought has done over the last 2.5 years. And at the same time, they are causing flooding in some central southern parts of the country, which is exacerbating the crisis.
Yes, and Petroc, we know that at this time we're seeing really many countries competing for aid monies and resources. I'm thinking of Sudan, elsewhere on the African continent, where we're seeing a lot of displacement there because of conflict in that country as well. What sort of resources are needed now to help Somalia really recover from the type of displacement and famine that we're seeing there?
So it's a great question. So famine so far has barely been kept at bay, and that is in large part because Somalia received the funding, the resources from the international community around the second half of last year for an unprecedented humanitarian scale-up. But the risk now is that the world turns away from Somalia while the country is still grappling with what is really a crisis. And if the world does turn away, the results could be catastrophic famine, kept at bay so far, but could really just be around the corner. And what's really important is that, yes, one, we get the resources to maintain this scale up, but two, those resources can go towards longer term, sustainable, climate smart solutions. Somalia is no stranger to drought or floods. These are recurrent climate shocks in the country, and they are climate shocks. Somalia is at the epicenter of climate change, despite contributing barely any emissions on a global scale. So the resources are needed, and they have to go towards longer term climate adaptive solutions that will build Somalia's resilience in the future. Otherwise, the next drought or flood is going to push us straight back into the next humanitarian crisis here.
And of course, it's not just Somalia that's being affected by this drought. You're warning that the entire Horn of Africa risks facing severe hunger by the end of the year. Tell us more about the other countries that are affected by this.
No, it's absolutely true. We've seen Kenya, we've seen Ethiopia also impacted by this drought. It really has been, even in a part of the world that, as I said, suffers from these climate events on a cyclic basis, this really has been unusually severe, and the impacts that you see on the ground, as I'm seeing on the screen now, really are tragic. It is the support to keep the current humanitarian crisis at bay, and it's a region, the entire Horn needs that longer term investment to make sure we don't get pushed back to this brink in just short months or a couple of years.
Okay, Petroc Wilton, we'll have to leave it there, but best of luck with your work, and thank you so much for explaining this very important issue to us. We appreciate it.